Last year, Peter Bergman came and did a remarkable presentation of all original material that left us in the aisles, and I thought it was a good way to end the first morning. Peter Bergman.
Thank you, Richard. Let me get through this welter of bears here. Richard has asked me to do just a little bit of housekeeping before I begin. The clean, well-lighted bookshop, or place to read books, has been moved to Colton 3, and they are featuring 2 new books that have been published by the American Association of Cyber Urologists. One of them is, if you bring the slide up, is Nicholas Negroponte's Peeing Digital. It's a pisser. And the other is our own Richard Solwerman's Urination Anxiety. More a mainstream book. Oh, I have to hold it. Both guaranteed not to be yellow journalism, so let's get the slides off. Well, here we are, TED8s. We gather here at the lip of the millennium. It is true. We are 1 year and 11 months away from saying goodbye to the 20th century. I don't know if you feel this way, but for me, I'm just beginning to become comfortable as a citizen of the 20th century, and suddenly it's taking a powder and transforming itself into the 21st century without so much as even asking me. Well, I've been a 20th century comedian most of my life, but now with the millennium coming, I'm going to have to adjust. I'm going to have to turn to a strategy that more and more Americans are adopting to get in touch with the changing times. I'm going to reinvent myself. Yes, in front of your very eyes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to reinvent myself. I am no longer a comedian. I am a digital storyteller. No, sorry, that's old hat. I am a futurist. And just in time. That's right. I am a futurist. Now, how can I get away with reinventing myself at the spur of a moment? Because I come from Los Angeles, the only city in America with a culture flexible enough to let anyone be anything they want to be at any time. Now, I tested out this theory. I did. Futurists always test out their theories. I went and talked to a few casual acquaintances at a coffee shop where I hang out, and I came in and I said, I'm into something new. I'm becoming an aromatherapy expert witness for environmental tort lawyers. And you know what their response was? How you doing? Anything in it for me? Very LA. So I'm a futurist. Yes, I now join a proud tradition of futurists that stretches all the way from St. John the Divine, who turned faith into revelation, to Miss Faith herself, who blows up popcorn into predictions. So here I am, a futurist. Let's talk about the future. The icon of the 21st century will most definitely be the computer, just as the icon of the 20th century has been the telephone. The telephone is our most transparent and ubiquitous device. It is integrated into our very bones, our very lifestyle, telecommunications, but it wasn't always like that. Do you remember the classic black and white film, The Life of Alexander Graham Bell? Don Amici plays the great Bell. And there's a famous scene in his laboratory where he's working on the first telephone system, and inadvertently he drops some acid on his pants and screams out, Mr. Watson, come help me. And across the line that leads from his system into the office of Mr. Watson, Watson hears that anguished cry over the telephone line. It's the first telephone call. Well, if that scene had gone down today, it would have unraveled slightly differently. The great Bell would have poured acid on his pants and cried out, oh, Mr. Watson, come quickly, I need you. And what he would have heard is this. Hello, you've reached the voicemail of Mr. Watson at Bell Labs. I'm either under my desk or unable to take your call. Press 1 for my pager, press 2 for my cell phone, or press 3 for an endless loop of soft corporate rock. Telephones are everywhere, particularly cell phones. Cell phones are the bridge technology between the 20th and the 21st century. I mean, I've been traveling a lot recently, so I bought my first cell phone, and I got my first cell phone bill. $1,600. all of it roaming charges. I calculated that it would be cheaper for me to fly to Rome and make the calls on an Italian payphone. Ciao, 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 ciao. Cell phones are also having a somatic effect upon American people. It's true that emergency rooms are talking about a flood of people coming in complaining from cell phone neck syndrome. Honey, I'll be home just as soon as I get out of the virtual office. The virtual office, hallmark of the workplace of the future. And we futurists are very interested in the workplace of the future. So I did some research, and I discovered what the virtual office is. The virtual office is that place where virtually nothing gets done. I am so busy voicemailing, emailing, faxing, paging, uploading, downloading, and networking that I have no time to get anything of substance accomplished. The dominant component of the office of the future will be voicemail, like it or not. I did some more research. I discovered that in medieval times, knights used to ride around wearing chainmail, which was protecting them from all the things that people throw at them. Well, voicemail is going to perform that same function in the 21st century. I'll give you an example. I bought a new software program recently, went to the manual to help me with installation, and here's what happens. Installation, let's see, Intel, Intuit, Insanity, installation, all right. Installation. Confirm that all primary buffers are optimized. C, buffer optimization. No problem there. Okay, B, bozos, bum trips, bozo, all right, buffers. Buffer optimization. Align all primary buffers with virtual cache RAM. C, virtual cache RAM. Okay, victims, vampires, virtual cache RAM. Here it is. It is a priority that all virtual cache RAM align with installation parameters. C, installation. I'm in a loop. So I call the publisher and I get put on the customer support voicemail line. Now, I am not by nature a cynical person, but I began to doubt the sincerity of that recorded voice after it told me for the 80th time that my call was particularly important to them. By the time I got a real person on the phone, it had taken so long they had issued a new upgrade of the software. What are you going to do? All right, the future. The lifestyle of the future is going to change radically. All the futurists will tell you. Cash is going to disappear. By 2010, no transactions except the most minimal will be cash-based. By the year 2020, only the $10 bill will exist. Everything will be transacted by credit cards. Credit cards, think about it. 20 years ago, all credit cards were silver, right? 10 years ago, gold, right? And now they're all platinum. So where do they go from here? What substance is worth more per ounce than platinum? Plutonium. Yes. Soon I'll get this in the mail. Shh. Congratulations, Mr. Bergman. You've been pre-approved for the Bank of Los Alamos plutonium credit card. It's hot. It has a half-life of 1,000,000 years. And it's great for late night shopping in the mall because it glows in the dark. Well, not only are we going to be carrying credit cards, our wallet is going to be fattened by fulfillment cards. Fulfillment cards. I get them everywhere I go. I go to get a latte at the coffee shop, to get dry cleaning, to get my car washed, to get some yuppie puppy dog food at the pet store. They give me a fulfillment card and they stamp it. I have an idea. How about dating fulfillment cards for all the singles out there? Now, here's how it works. I go on a date, stamped. After 10 dates, I get something for free. The world that we're going to live in, the future that we face, workplace, lifestyle, is going to be, in the 21st century, gender blind, and I certainly hope so, because I am a much decorated veteran of the gender wars. You see, I discovered long ago that my name was sexist, Bergman. And so I changed it. I changed it to Bergperson. It was not sufficient. You see, the last syllable of my new name, person, son is patently male. So I changed it again. Hello, my name is Peter Bergperper. Bergperper. It sounds like inadvertent bubbles in a bathtub. Think about it. You've been there. Yeah. Oh. Well, whether or not we're going to have to change our names to keep up in touch with the latest dictums of political correctness, the fact is I have a great problem remembering names, and to enter the 21st century I'm going to have to change that. So I went to the Mindbender Memory School and learned to remember names by visual association. Let me give you an example. You come to a wonderful conference like this, you meet a conferee named Dorothy Snowden. So you've got to say to yourself, okay, Dorothy, Wizard of Oz, click, you've got the association. It's done. Snowden, snowed on. You think of snow on the top of her head, click, you've got it. Now tomorrow you see her at the break, or next year you see her at TED8. You come walking up with confidence and you say, wow, if it isn't Toto Slushhead. What's up in Kansas? Well. Yes, we're going to have a much different culture because the 21st century is the gateway to the genetic revolution. And that's right. The replacement of defective genes by healthy substitutes will be a common process soon. By the year 2010, it is said that medically designed micro-robots, after being swallowed, will perform surgery within the body, which inspires in me the idea for a new restaurant. Waiter, I'll have the bacon, lettuce, and bypass sandwich. Gene splicing, implants, structural upgrades are going to change our life forever. At Wimbledon, the Bornbjorgs are going to be replaced by the cyborgs. In the cathedrals of the corporations, it will not be your MBA, but your DNA that will put you on the fast track. And in the world of fashion, we'll all be wearing Calvin clones. So the question of the future is, if Dar wins, who loses? Not I, because I am the very model of a true genetic miracle, although I look quite normal to the simple view empirical. If you could look beneath my skin, with scanners infinitesimal, you'd see a brand new body laid out decimal by decimal. Not long ago it came to me that I would have to come to grips with how I'll cope so soon with the millennial apocalypse. I'll need a body made for sports, extreme and wild adventure if I am going to make it in this weird upcoming century. I visited with scientists and doctors ultra-clinical. They said my plan to reinvent myself was sad and cynical. But when I flashed my wallet, all the experts went hysterical and made this modern model of a true genetic miracle. First they took their lipo guns and sucked out all the fat on me. Then brandishing their laser swords, they cut up my anatomy. They drained my brain and in its place put Albert Einstein's molecules. They shaved what hair I had and wove in Brad Pitt's flaxen follicles. They gave me Elway's throwing arm and Michael Jordan's slam and jam. I play the greens with Tiger's genes, 'cause that's the kind of clone I am. My existential angst is gone, I told them to dismember it. And if I get Alzheimer's, they have pledged, I won't remember it. My DNA is virus-free. My cells are round and spherical. I am the very model of a true genetic miracle. The doctor spent $1 million. I told them not to spare a dime. But now I'm looking for a mate. I need a female paradigm. She must have Cindy Crawford's face, the body of a killer bee, the special style of Jackie O, the patience of a Hillary. We'll have a pair of classic kids, intelligent and beauteous. They'll get straight A's and neither will have tattoos on their gluteus. I won't need life insurance because I'm going to live eternally. I'll rule because this culture only judges folks externally. So if you're feeling cheated, gypped by natural selectionists, you're only skin and jeans away from absolute perfectionists. Step up into designer jeans and presto, all America will bow down to you. The modern model of a true genetic miracle. Great. Now, can America respond to this crisis? Yes, the way they have responded to every real crisis in the last 50 years. Market a new product. In 2020, you'll turn on your TV and see this ad. Have you been drinking the same beer for 100 years and you're still depressed? It's time you stepped up to Bear Whiz Pro, the first prescription beer with Prozac. Bear Whiz, it's in the water. That's why it's yellow. Consult your doctor if you're a pregnant woman over 80 operating heavy equipment. So in closing, let me just say that as a new futurist, I realize that the future is going to be a lot less predictable than we would like to believe. And in closing, I would like to sum up for you in the model of a children's primer what we've gotten ourselves into thus far. I call it in your honor, the future at TED, from A to Z. A is for algae, we'll drink it in toddies. B is for biotech, resculpting our bodies. C is for cloning, which has everyone troubled. D is for Dolly, the sheep that we doubled. E is for energy, the last gasp of fossil. F is for fusion, will it find an apostle? G is for genetics, will it beat the grim reaper? H is for households, without a housekeeper. I is for implants, of a kind never reckoned. J is for jocks running 10 miles a second. K is for kilowatts, wave, wind, and solar. L is El Nino, turning tropics to polar. M is for microchips with the power to school us. N is for nerds who may use them to rule us. O is for ozone, that much tattered layer. P is petroleum, the ecology slayer. Q is for quantum, which none can intuit. R is for robot, you can rue it or screw it. S is for silicon, sand turned to magic. T is technology, God sent or tragic. U is uranium, can we last its arrival? V is for vision, the key to survival. Y is the question and we're the reply. Z is ground zero where the world comes to die. But not if we learn from this simple rhymed primer that the candle we hold need not grow any dimmer. For A is for angels that lead us each minute. And Z is for Zen, which the soul holds within it. We can rewrite this alphabet letter by letter. And in so doing, our future gets better and better. Thank you.